Welcome to another OU Insider and Advisor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. My name is Brandon Drum, Parker Thune, Spencer Forsythe on the board. 10 days, Parker, 10 days away, and it's almost game week in about 4 days. So it's getting closer and closer and closer, Sooners fans. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk some depth chart stuff. We're going to talk recruiting. We're going to answer your questions, and we're going to have fun on this live. But before we do all that, we're going to thank our sponsors. Parker, take it away.
Yes, we need to thank Riverwind Casino first and foremost because they are our presenting sponsor here on OU Insider Live. Riverwind Casino has been the OKC area's premier gaming destination for nearly 2 decades now, almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars, and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. Also, a word for Jana King, a proud partner of OU Athletics and the greatest team to ever clean, delivering spotless results and solutions from stadiums to any size business across the country. Check out which of their solutions is right for you or your business by going to janaking.com. And finally, folks, if you live in the state of Oklahoma, you spend a lot of time outdoors, you need to be aware of Brunt Workwear, especially if you're a blue-collar worker. There are so many of them in the state of Oklahoma. Even if you're not, even if you spend a whole lot of time working outside in the yard, you have land, you have property, you have dirty jobs that you have to do on a day in, day out basis, you can't do better than Brunt Workwear for the combination of durability and comfort. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners are going to get $10 off at Brunt when you use code OU Insider at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code OU Insider, and you're good to go. And after you order, they'll ask where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor and tell them the guys from OU Insider sent you. And I can offer firsthand testimony here. Brunt is indeed the best work boot you can find out there. I never thought I would enjoy wearing boots. I have with Brunt. So go give them a try.
Parker and boots. I just can't.
I know, man.
I just can't. I can't. I can't.
Feels like a square peg in a round hole, right?
That's an understatement. Yes, very much so. It would be like me wearing Cole Haans or something to that extent. Like you won't ever see me in anything like that because it's just not me. I am not one of those dressy. It was like pulling teeth whenever I had to wear a suit that one time, just because I hate suits. And Parker is like, anytime you can wear a suit, I know how you are. You like are just you're about it. And so that's about how it is. I like work boots because I like to work, but like, and I've done that type of labor before when I was, I mean, I don't think I won't say I did labor. I was how do you want to call it? A manager of inventory for an oil company. So I had to wear them just, but don't really think I did a lot of labor, but yeah, anyways, that's neither here nor there. They are good boots though. Where do we want to start, man? Where do you want to
Let's
start?
start with our super chats. That's always a great place to
That
start.
is a great place
For
to start.
those that have questions, whether you have questions about fall camp, the depth chart, recruiting, look, we're going to cover a lot of ground. We always do on OU Insider Live. But if you want to ensure that your question gets addressed, hit us up with a super chat. You can attach a contribution of any amount. It does not matter how small, but that will ensure that those questions get bumped to the top of the queue. Our very first super chat comes from a regular, Mongo, who said it's the most wonderful time of the year. Shout out to Leroy Kearney with a $10 contribution. And
Wow.
yeah, Mongo, Leroy Kearney's kid, man, it's going to be exciting to see him on the field this fall for Oklahoma. I feel amazing about this wide receiver room, Brandon. Like the two groups that I feel demonstrably better about, measurably better about than I did before fall camp, wide receiver and cornerback. Like not even
That's
close.
fair.
I feel markedly better about those two position groups. And I think it says a lot. And this is no knock on the kid at all, because he may be the fastest guy on the entire roster. But I think it says a lot when last year during camp, everybody was buzzing nonstop about Zion Reagans. And this year,
Mhm.
Zion Reagans is healthy. He's active. He's out there practicing. You've scarcely heard a word about Zion Reagans. So if he is nothing more than the constant, if you will, uh, the controlled variable in the equation, I think that alone would tell you that this receiver room is in a much better place than they were a season ago.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And the Mongo super chat means that he is a member of OU Insider because he saw a note that was posted today that we've teased on Twitter elsewhere about a wide receiver that is doing quite well upon their return. So for me, I was wide receiver is one of those groups. I'm by far. I think Zion Kearney, obviously the fact that you have Giovanni Gibson coming back at some point during the first quarter, I would say, of the season. I guess that would be a fair assessment. Um, the fact that you have Dion Burks, Isaiah Satania, Jermichael Carter, Elijah Thomas, like that. Jacob Jordan. I don't think we talk enough about Jacob Jordan because we continue to hear that dude is an immaculate route runner. All he does is get open. And when he does get open, he is, I'm going to say, I will not be shocked if he leads the receiving core in touchdowns because he's such a good route runner in the red zone. We saw that last year sparingly, right? When he finally started to get his chance. But in the red zone, he found ways to get open. And so he didn't score a lot, but nobody scored a lot last year for you.
Yeah,
So
no, they did not.
I mean, I'm just telling the truth. But he did. He found ways to get open, and he made plays that he just reminds you a lot of, and it's like, is this racist because he's a white slot, right? He reminds you a lot of Drake Stoops a little bit and how he runs his routes, just the veracity, the physicality that he plays with for a guy his size. There's a lot to like there with Jacob Jordan. So I think just depth wise, the wide receiver room is really good. For me, BB said it probably about a week ago. And he came out and he said, look, I was worried about the linebacker room. They've actually been a surprise to him, how well that they have progressed during fall camp. There was some worry over some of the depth. And I'm not going to sit here and say that there's not still worry because there probably still is, but I think it's not at the level that was expected. Because if you were going to like put a black mark on the defense to start fall camp, it would have been linebacker, right? I think that's a given. And I don't know that it would be a black mark, maybe kind of a asterisk there, like, hey, just watch this position a little bit. And I think that's why people are starting, not specifically the linebackers, but I think there's a lot of reasons, that being one of them, why the national pundits are really starting to take notice of Oklahoma even before they play a game this year. I've seen a few national pundits have OU in the SEC championship game, Parker.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few that have been that high on OU, that are that high on OU going into 2025. Feels a little rich for my taste in terms of
Super
optimism,
rich.
but
Like, oh,
I mean, it's nice to know that there are credible people willing to put those takes out there this close to the season. I think that
fact.
speaks volumes for how Oklahoma is regarded nationally, not just locally. By the way, before we go any further, folks, if you appreciate the work, you watch the live stream every single week. The best way to support us is to go subscribe over at ouinsider.com. Try us out for a week. It'll only cost you $1. If you don't like it after a week, you can go your merry way. No hard feelings. But I think when you see the amount of content that we're kicking out over there for members every single day at OU Insider, you will be inclined to stick around, and we'd love to have you back.
Hey, real quick on that. I'm sorry, real quick. Hey, teachers, just because we're doing a promo for back to school, teachers, college students, and obviously active duty. If you send an email to us right now, you have to send it from your like school email, if you're a teacher, a .edu if you're college, and obviously your military email if you're in one of the armed forces. Send us an email at ouinsider@rivals.com. We will send you a promo code to get OU Insider for 3 months at just $1 a month. So it's basically $3, $1 every month. You get charged, you get us for 3 months. So again, you have teachers. It only lasts Sunday through 11:59 for the teachers. It goes on with college students and military, but this is an appreciation back to school thing. We did it last year, and I'm telling you, the teachers, they ate that thing up. Like they were like, "Hey man, send me." We had several hundreds teachers like send us emails on that and take full advantage of it. We would love to have you on OU Insider. So give us a try again at OU Insider at rivals.com from your, .K12 or whatever it is from your school. Prove that you're a teacher. That's all you have to do. Really simple from that email. And we'll send you a promo code from there that you get OU Insider for $1 a month for the first 3 months. Same with college students from .edu and active duty military. Go ahead.
Back to super chats. Daryl Revels tossed us $5. Daryl's a regular. He said, top to bottom, how many schools out there do we believe have a better/deeper roster than OU? This team is special. All comes down to execution. Boomer. I mean, I would say if we're talking sheer talent, you could make a case that this is a top 5 team in the SEC, a pretty strong case at that. I mean, if you're top 5 in the SEC, where does that put you nationally? If you're outside the top 10, you're not far outside the top 10. So this is, to me, the most talented roster that Brent Venables has had at the University of Oklahoma. It's also the toughest schedule he's had at the University of Oklahoma. So it's a matter of which of those two things outweighs the other. And we don't know yet.
Yeah, this is by far the most talent they've had. I think you look at that Senior Bowl list, the watch list that they have, and I retweeted to Parker and said, look, this is why national pundits are so high on OU. Like that right there is a verification. And everybody was like, why didn't they have draft picks last year? And what did we say to that? We said they weren't eligible. They didn't have very many guys eligible with 81 freshmen and sophomores, redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores, all that, playing 1,500 significant snaps last year. That is a lot of dudes that aren't really eligible for the draft playing. This year, you have a little bit more. So you see the Senior Bowl watch list. Obviously, OU's a bit older. They're still not very old, Parker. Like if you actually look at the roster, it's still very youthful roster. But yeah, as a whole, this is the most talent, and it's going to be a fun season. I'm high. I'm excited for next week when we actually do our predictions, just because I think it's going to be fun.
Mez in the chat said, Parker with boots or calluses on his hands. Hey, don't you disrespect me like that, sir. Listen, I actually got calluses everywhere. That's just kind of a natural consequence of playing bass guitar like I do. So especially on my fingers, I do have a bunch of calluses. But hey, listen.
He called me working from the yard yesterday. Or
my very first job was working maintenance at a golf course. Getting up at 5 a.m. to go rake bunkers and use a fly mower. You ever used a fly mower? That is a harrowing job, sir. Using a fly mower, you are more prone to getting your foot chopped off than pretty much any other job you can work in the realm of landscaping. But Jacob Matthews,
you were messing with the greens, man.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a good day when I got to mow greens. That was easy. Fly mowing, bunker banks, brutal. Those were brutal days.
Did you have a spot you would go hide at when you didn't want to do things? I can neither confirm or deny doing that whenever I worked at Surrey Hills.
Yeah, could not hide. My boss, and super nice guy, my boss, but he was on top of all of us. He made sure we were doing our work. Jake made sure we were earning our $8.25 an hour at the time.
There you go.
Jacob Matthews threw us $5 and said, outside of the big names on the team, who are y'all most excited to see play? I mentioned him in the Under the Visor podcast, but how can you not be excited to see Ivan Carrion play? If there's one guy in Oklahoma's wide receiver room that you would like to explode from a productive standpoint in 2025, isn't it Ivan Carrion? Wouldn't you like to have a 6'6" freak of nature just wreaking havoc on SEC secondaries?
Yeah. I mean, he's got a chance. We talked about that in the pod. Like, he's not a route runner that obviously Jacob Jordan's going to be, because Jacob Jordan has to be a crisp route runner just because of his size, right? Ivan Carrion, though, has a catch radius that could make any quarterback giddy as long as um, as long as the quarterback's accurate and as long as Carrion's actually catching the ball. And he's done that this fall camp, done very, very well at that. He's made a name for himself this fall camp to where I'm going to quote a source. There was a bit worry that he might, not be able to contribute as much as they would like. Wide receivers got dinged up, and the source said he's been balling out the last few days to where you can throw him out there and he is going to not make plays, but make plays where you turn your head and go, okay, that guy can really play at this level. End quote. Like, and I was like, hey, that's not something we heard about him last year in particular. They were worried about his physicality. He's gotten more physical. Could he grow into a tight end at some point? Sure. But I don't know that that's what he wants to do. So I think he's working really hard not to do that. But he's going to be a mismatch in the goal line situations for sure, in the red zone for sure.
Jonathan Myrick, who is a regular,
Yes, she is. Thank you.
tossed us a $10 contribution and asked, what was the deal with Fasusi yesterday? Is he okay? Yes, he is okay. Scary moment there initially. He was dealing with some heat exhaustion. He was hospitalized out of an abundance of caution, but he was back at the team facility today, I was told, and shouldn't be off the practice field for too terribly long. Obviously, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to tell that guy, hey, go put on pads tomorrow. Let's go right back at it. No,
Yeah.
you give him a little time just to get right physically and mentally, too. Because, I mean, that's a tough thing to undergo for a young student athlete. I mean, you can do your best to shrug it off, and I'm sure to an extent that's what Fasusi is doing because he's a tough dude, but you want to be sure you're in the right place mentally to be able to go back out there and compete at a high level. So I don't know that I would expect Michael Fasusi to be on the practice field the rest of the week, but that's okay. That's okay. Virgil Walker kicked us $20. What's up, Virgil? He said, I have moved to Phoenix, but what hasn't changed is that I am still following you, gentlemen. Keep on keeping on, Parker and Brandon. Boomer. Thank you, Virgil. That is a long move. Atlanta to Phoenix. Wow. I hope you weren't the one that had to drive the U-Haul across that much of the country. But blessings on your next venture in the state of Arizona. We're glad to have you watching. Jesus Saves gave us $5
Yes, he does.
and said, how do guys really feel about the team this year? No Homer.
How do you guys? I'm sure he meant you guys.
9 wins.
Oh, you just gave away your prediction for. Okay, screw it.
I mean, we'll go game by game on the podcast, but
For sure, for sure.
9 wins. I think this is a 9-win football team.
There is a part of me that wants to say 9. I do. I want to say 9. I think that they have the ability to win 10 games. However, I need to see it. And because I've seen more 6 and 7 than I have 10, right? In Venables' era. And it's not because I think Venables is a bad coach, because I think he's a really good coach. I just think he has not had the ability to gain momentum and keep it, even in 2023. When it felt like they were going to have momentum, Danny Stutzman goes down and it derails the last half of their season, i.e., Kansas and Oklahoma State, right? So, and that game was to play in the Big 12 championship game. I'm going to say 8-4 right now, with the option to change it next week if I want, because I'm going to look over the schedule again. I'm going to reassess it before I actually give my prediction. But if you're asking me right now, I'll say 8-4. But the reason why people feel good is because look at the talent.
Yeah.
On this team. It's ridiculous. Josh Pate said it. I think they're a top 10 total talent roster in the nation. If they did not have the schedule that they have right now, and they had like Tennessee's schedule, there are people, they would be the darling of like potentially winning the SEC. And I say that after I said 8-4. Like the schedule is the problem. Go ahead. I'm done.
We have another super chat from Thomas Redlow. It comes with a $5 contribution. Thank you, Thomas. He says, I've heard very little about Tatum this offseason. It has been all Ott, Barnes, and Blaylock. Are we worried about him? Worried about Taylor Tatum? I don't know that I would use that verbiage. However, I think it is the case, Brandon, that at this point, Taylor Tatum has the most to prove of anybody in that backfield because he hasn't proven a whole heck of a lot. And frankly, he hasn't had the chance to prove a whole heck of a lot in fall camp to this point with how much he's missed. But Torrey Blaylock, hello. I don't think you're keeping that kid off the field at this point. I don't. Like, Cortland Guillory, Elijah Thomas, Torrey Blaylock, all respective Fasusi and Foje, those are the three true freshmen that have been talked about the most this fall camp. Without question, it's Elijah Thomas, Cortland Guillory, Torrey Blaylock. And there will be a role for all three of them.
Yeah. So if you were to guess like carries, obviously Jaden Ott's probably going to lead. Like where do you put X Javante Barnes like as far as splits? If you're going to get percentage splits like 80-20-20, 80-40-30, like or 80-40-20, like 80, excuse me. I know. Screw that. Sorry. I'm over here. There. Sorry. Yeah. My math is a little off. 80-10-10. Like how do you see that going? I was sitting over here saying 80-40-40. I meant 20, 40-40, but yeah. But not obviously I getting 40, like maybe
if I had to ballpark it, I would say Ott probably gets 60% of the carries. Initially, another 20% goes to Barnes, and then the other 20% belongs to, whoever goes and seizes those snaps, seizes those touches. That could be X, that could be Blaylock, that could be Taylor Tatum. But Barnes, I think he goes into the season in my eyes as RB2 behind Ott just because he has been available throughout the entirety of fall camp, and he's had a good fall camp. Like he hasn't left a lot to be desired based on all the conversations I've had. So I think Barnes would be the guy that I would most readily look at as the handcuff to Ott initially.
Yeah, I think just from what's happened over particularly the last like 10-15 days, maybe like 10 days, I think Barnes has really grabbed a hold of, that second running back spot. He has turned the heads of the people that he needed to turn the heads for. And those that were questioning him are not questioning him anymore. And that is something that wasn't going to come easy for him because of what's happened in the past. He's been good, but he's just been unable to stay healthy and unable to stay consistent as far as, gaining or he never really piggybacked on his freshman season. And that has kind of been a cloud over him a little bit. Right. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think Barnes is going to be really good. I really want to see Torrey Blaylock. I do. It's just hard for me to envision because you have the speed backs with Ott and Barnes is fast. He's not fast, but he's fast. Like you still need that power guy, right? And that's what X provides you is that change of pace. Like I'm going to run your ass over type deal. I don't know, man. DeMarco and how he rotates has always been kind of a flyer. He goes off who's hot. So I think that's really what's going to play out. Like who gets hot, who gets that chance.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, man. But Ott's going to get a lot.
Yeah. And certainly I think that the other reality of the way that DeMarco has managed his running back room in the past is when he has a guy, he leans on that guy. He had a guy in Ramondre Stevenson in 2020. He had a
Mm-hmm.
guy in Kennedy Brooks in 2021. He had a
Yep.
guy in Eric Gray in 2022. He hasn't really had a guy since then outside of that brief spurt in 2023 when Gavin Sawchuk exploded. So, assuming Jaden Ott is fully healthy, I trust that we're going to see a lot less of those bizarre rotations at the running back position just because if he's healthy, he is the guy. There's no question about it. And you'd expect him to be the guy that DeMarco lets it ride with.
So just I'm breathing. There's been a lot of, and the reason why I see it because there's been a lot going on here with the super chats.
Mm-hmm.
Not super chats, but just the chat in general. A lot of people saying BV would be gone at 8-4. I just totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with that schedule. No, that I think you got to take that Big 12 mindset out. Like Oklahoma, this year's Oklahoma team would run through the Big 12 like they were gnats flying around and just swatting them left and right with the fly swatter. Um, that is not in the SEC. Not with that schedule. Is there 7 top 20 teams right on that schedule? Correct?
Preseason top 20, yeah.
Preseason, yeah, like, and that's not even counting the ones that like receiving votes like Missouri, and they were what, top 30? So like you come on. Like 8-4 with that schedule and all the newness on this team would be it's not the Oklahoma standard, but this is going to sound really bad. And it's going to sound worse than what I mean because I don't mean it like this, right? I think the standard has to be reevaluated considering how college football's changed and where they're playing. You're not going to get a gimme at all this year. There is outside of the non-conference schedule, those 3, not named Michigan, those are your gimmies, Parker. That's it. That's it. Everything else is going to be a dogfight. And it's not because the standard doesn't change that you're not fighting for championships. That doesn't change. But I think if you don't win a championship, it's not the end of the world. Or don't compete for the SEC title, it's not the end of the world because you have the hardest schedule in college football. And I think people have to realize that. Like, it's okay to be upset about it, but there's also a part of you that has to be like, that's tough to go through every week. That's a gauntlet. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does. No question about it. Boomer Sooner One Forever asks, what does Taylor Tatum need to do to get on the field? And I think in the short term, the answer is very simple. He needs to prove that he can hold on to the football and that he can pick up blocks. That's what it comes down to. That's really all that held him back from playing a much larger role last year than he did. He was constantly putting the ball on the ground and he couldn't block for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so if those two kinks are ironed out in Taylor Tatum's game, I don't think it's asinine to say that he's got the highest ceiling of anybody in the room. In fact, I don't think that's even a hot take. His ceiling is incredible, but he's got to get out of his own way with the fumbling and the lack of blocking penchant.
Yeah. No, I go back to that South Carolina game. It was when Jackson got in there and they were in 6-man protection and he just let the middle linebacker go right by him. He goes and runs a route. Arnold gets the ball, right? Everybody's matched up. Slide half the protection to the left, slide half the protection to the right. He's got the back. He picks up the blitzing backer, right? 6-man protection. Jackson gets the ball, turns, and just gets lit right in his second step of his drop because Tatum's running a slip route instead of getting the backer.
Can't have that.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Oh man.
And obviously it's not to lay the blame at the feet of others, but certainly I think you can understand why Jackson Arnold might have acted a little bit squirrely in the pocket at times when you had things like that happening throughout 2024.
Very much true. Very, very much true. Um, so we haven't gone live since Oklahoma picked up a commitment.
Yeah, Tank Carrington, come on.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to be real interested to see what his senior tape looks like because he's bulked up a
Yeah.
lot this offseason. He's bulked up a lot. And so is the twitch, is the quickness there? Because you'd expect that the power is still going to be there. He's a wrestler, man. He's a powerful dude. But yeah, this take could age very well for Oklahoma. If it turns out that Tank Carrington is a guy that can play his way back into blue chip territory, which, as we discussed on the podcast, he's not far off from right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the territory he did once occupy as a recruit. Then, man, I think that sets him up nicely to potentially make an early impact at Oklahoma if he can continue to add mass and prove that he can hold his own down there in the trenches against SEC linemen. Now, maybe there's less of an expectation that he makes an early impact as there will be for a guy like Brian Harris, but I like the Tank Carrington edition. I'll be honest, I had my questions at first. Especially with the knowledge that Oklahoma kind of circled back here. Like they canceled his official visit back in June. So at the time, it would seem that he was not a take for Oklahoma, but he became a take by August. And so OU's hesitation was part of the reason why I had some hesitation. But once he mentioned to me that he's almost up to 275 pounds, and I got the chance to pour over that junior tape again from his year at Bishop Gorman, DeMarco Murray's alma mater, I
Mm-hmm.
talked myself into it, man. I think there's plenty to like with Tank Carrington. Is he a surefire superstar at the next level? I'm not going to go that far, but I think you understand what Jim Nagy and Todd Bates see in him.
Yeah. He has a lot of upside. He's super raw. Any any lineman, defensive lineman in particular, or center. I love centers and guards that were wrestlers. I like their odds to be pretty good uh, at the next level. I think, you look at a guy, I'm going to point to this guy. This guy was one of the better wrestlers in the state at 6'6", 290 pounds in high school, in Jacob Sexton. And his length and, just his build can be a detriment at times, right? Like it can be an issue. But because he was such a good wrestler, he is more fleet of foot than most guys his size. So that's been something that's helped him out substantially. As far as like interior guys, like I think Creed Humphreys was a guy that was a solid wrestler. Trying to think, Ben Powers was an amazing wrestler, and that's what made him so good at obviously offensive line. But on the flip side, you look at the defensive line side. I those guys that get the leverage, like I don't think he's ever going to be. Do you think he gets a 310, 315? Do you think he can get there? Because I think he probably maxes out at like 295, 300.
Yeah, I don't know if I see him getting far beyond. Like, if he is physically similar at his peak at the collegiate level to a guy like Grayson Halton, who's 292 pounds right now, I think that probably suits him pretty well.
Yeah, Grayson Halton was going to be my analogy, my comparison, because he reminds me a lot of Grayson Halton coming out of high school. They're both kind of, you wouldn't say undersized, they just struggle to put weight on. That's been an issue. Obviously, with Tank Carrington, he had a stomach gastro problem, according to his father. Um, that has since been remedied. And you saw him, he's put on like 30 pounds over the last year. So that's been good. His first step, though, is absurd. It's good, man. And if he can keep that, that's where the Grayson Halton analogy comparison comes with for me is just Grayson is one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in college football, even though he's undersized as far as like just interior guys and like a 3-man, 4-man front. Like,
Yeah.
um, I, but he's finally over 300, by the way. Apparently, According to Todd Bates, there's only one guy that's not 300 pounds, Nigel Smith.
And I tell you, watching Tate
And he
Carrington
will get
State,
there.
this is not a comp by any means. This is not a player comp because they're very different players, but at least at this stage. But I do see a similarity to Jaden Jackson in the sense that when Tank Carrington gets the leverage, it's
Ooh,
over.
that's interesting.
It's
That's interesting.
over. Like,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with Jaden Jackson. Like he gets leverage, it's a wrap. And you see the same propensity
Yeah.
on film with Tank Carrington.
The that's that wrestler, man. That's the wrestler in him. That leverage is crazy. Um, I love the get. We talked about it. You were the one that questioned it, and I was like, dude, he's so raw. I like it. I just feel like he's got a chance to be. At the end of the day, I think he has a chance to be one of the better players for Oklahoma down the line, as far as like just how talented he can be. There's a reason why he was ranked so high to start. And I think that needs to be, I think people forget that at times. He used to be a 5-star. Now he's dropped, but that also happens when you jump around schools, bounce around schools like you're playing hot potatoes. So, I mean, and that's a joke, but at the same time, yeah, it hindered him. Do you think Oklahoma's done this month on the recruiting trail? I do not.
Really. I agree with you. I don't think they're done. I like Oklahoma to land T-Ron Richardson next Tuesday.
Agreed.
And look, folks, it's not me making a guarantee because my goodness, how many late twists have we seen in these recruitments so far this cycle? It's been ridiculous. And it's been obnoxious. Like it makes
Yeah.
it makes our lives more difficult. Like to spend weeks, months tracking trends and giving recruitments, all just to have to throw it out at the 11th hour because something changed. Like with Davian Gross last week. We don't like it any more than you do. So can't rule out that something will shake with T-Ron Richardson in the waning hours of the process because that seems to be happening a lot in this cycle, not just with Oklahoma guys, but across the board.
Yeah.
That said, I like where Oklahoma stands. I have liked where Oklahoma stands for quite some time, and I have not heard anything yet to make me think that the Sooners will not be the destination next Tuesday.
I totally agree. It's felt like Oklahoma has been the confident team. Now Penn State's been pushing. They're close. Syracuse, Virginia Tech, obviously the in-state school has been making some strong pushes there. Florida has been trying to make a push late. Trying to think who else has been in that, but look, we talked about this on the podcast as well. People look at that and they go, so they're competing with Syracuse, Florida, Penn State, and who was the other one? Virginia Tech. That's it. That's all they're. Well, hold on now. Like Penn State knows defensive linemen. They offer them. They're pretty good. Syracuse's head coach and their defensive coordinator are notoriously good defensive line evaluators. Look them up. Obviously, Virginia Tech being the in-state school, obviously, and then Florida. Like I think it speaks for itself. Parker. At the end of the day, he is very talented. George has offered him. A lot of really big schools have offered him, and he's another one of those guys that has a chance to bump up in that 4-star range with a not good, but just decent senior season. And I expect him to have it, honestly. So I look, he's going to get it because that Hopewell team's very, very talented. Very, very, very talented team. Has a lot of good players on it.
It's Travion Henderson's alma mater.
That is very true. That is very true. That's literally the first thing I thought of when I saw you offering the first time. It's like, wow, they're going tapping back into that well. They almost got Travion Henderson, so why not? You brought something up about the last minute flips.
Mm-hmm.
People, and I think it's really easy to say, and we talked, there was a quote that I had from him. Oh, this source was really good. on OU Insider. You can go look at it if you're members. And they talked about how everybody just instantly thinks if Oklahoma or anybody loses out on a player in the NIL era, that it's instantaneously the kid flipped on him because of money. Because that's the easy thing to think. But if you look at who OU's lost out on outside of, who would you say were ones that were money at the end of the day? Davion Gross was not money. Braxton Lindsey, he's Mormon. He went to BYU,
That one's understandable.
right? There were
Dallas Dickerson was just kind of a weird case all around.
Dallas Sixers was a weird case all the way around. That thing was a strange recruitment. I think there was like somebody named like of like the 7 or 8 that Oklahoma lost out on. I think there was only like 2 or 3 that were like, yeah, we just weren't going to pay that.
Well, Zach
From what I
Turner,
was told.
right? Like
Yeah.
Zach
I mean, like
Turner, KJ Ford, although
that one's not done.
no, it's not.
Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to it. Like, it's so easy to sit there and say money, money. The Davion Gross, you think Dallas Dickerson was weird? The Davion Gross situation, weird. And again, we as we've said on OU Insider VIP, post National Signing Day, tell all when you guys ask us, that's when we'll explain more details when there's not an opportunity for this thing to flip or anything like that. Because it may be a small chance that Oklahoma gets back in this and can get him to visit or, whatever. But even a small chance, you don't want to be the one that ruins it, because that's how you get shunned from getting anything for you all. So you have to tread lightly, but it's not always money. It's not always money. That's just the point I'm making. Recruiting is still about relationships. And Oklahoma's done a really good job with T-Ron. Really
Yes,
good
they
job.
have. And that's what it takes for a kid like that. And we've
Yep.
talked about his individual circumstances and family situation. Like it truly does take relationships to win a recruitment like that one. Not to say that money doesn't matter or you're going to be able to sign the kid for free, because you're not, but relationships are pivotal in a process like that.
Absolutely. So Mez, I'm reading Mez's. He said, check James Carrison's stats in 9 games at Gorman versus Perry Wright at Buford in 12 games. Go do some research on those 2 D linemen prospects in 2024. I don't know why I guess tell me in the chat why I need to compare them. Do you
He
understand
showed
that?
you all the stats. He posted all the stats later on in the chat. I don't know if you saw that, but basically James Carrington outproduced Bryce Perry Wright last season.
Oh,
Playing at Bishop Gorman. So
I'm not. I don't do the rankings, so I don't
yeah,
think,
no. I think he's just saying, like,
I think he's a 4-star.
pointing
Like, I
out
think
the
he's that
reality
good.
there,
Yeah,
which is that for a 3-star, he's made plays and
he
plenty
has.
at a high
He's
level.
really good. Yep, he's really good, and there's politics in this too. Like, I think that's goes without saying, right? I think that Georgia, a guy that stayed around Georgia and it's been around that talent, played against that talent. Yeah, he was at Bishop Gorman. I get it. So he played against good talent, did really good against good talent, but he's bounced around, and I think that's actually being held against him, unfortunately. So, what do you I'm going to say this. Just give a heads up to OU fans. If you think 2024 season and you expect Oklahoma to just go out against Illinois State, play their starters, get a bunch of reps and all that type of stuff, I think you're going to be upset if that's your line of thinking. They're going to play their starters, but they're also going to give other guys a lot of looks, from my understanding, if it gets out of hand very quickly, to save and not get dudes injured. There is a total different mindset in Norman than there was even previously. Because remember, even with Lincoln Riley, they would keep the guys in, Parker, to like 10 minutes. Bob Stoops was notorious for that, just keeping his foot on people's throats. Obviously, there's a lot to do with that with the BCS and all that, but I just have a hunch, wink, wink, that Oklahoma is going to preserve some people.
Got to see that Whit Neubauer, to Manny Choice connection. Got to.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Um, by the way, man, I still want to comment on some things in the chat. Oh, just the gross thing. Yes, they were negotiating. They were. I'm telling you, I I'll explain it in the thing. Like there's that how should I word that, Parker? Like it just got weird at the end with Gross. It was weird.
But
He wasn't great with
money
communication to
was
begin
a
with.
thing.
Money was a thing, but thinking Oklahoma got outbid and they weren't going to pay is not how that it's not just not how that works. How about that? So, anyways. Um they do show Whit Neubauer quite a bit more than they show anybody else in those videos. He's been the dude that's I get maybe he's the one that's making all the big play. I don't know. Maybe they're not wanting to show Mateer and Hawkins to keep people. I don't know. What is that gamesmanship?
I'll file that story to OUinsider.com for tomorrow. Whit Neubauer. Whit Neubauer, the nation's
Starter.
top third string quarterback.
He might be.
He may actually like
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not even joking. He
How
might
many
be.
schools have a former FCS playoffs starter as their third stringer right now?
I
He
don't
did that
know.
as a true freshman too. Yeah, he can play a little bit.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's not nearly as athletic as John Mateer or Michael Hawkins, but he can sling the rock.
His development and play, and we can say this because it's well known at this point, is the reason why Jaden O'Neal is not in the 2026 class still. Like one of the main reasons is Whit Neubauer. So um they loved them some Whit Neubauer and Norman, I'll say that. What I guess Oklahoma obviously has a 2027 commit. Have we even talked about that on any
Luke Wilson?
platform? Yeah. Have we even talked about that?
No, I don't. I mean, that happened so
I
fast
know.
that it was over and done so quickly too that we might have just
And
completely glazed
surprisingly,
over it.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that loved the opportunity to go play for Bill. And like, I think what stands out the most from my conversation with Luke Wilson is that that guy truly trusts that Oklahoma is going to win in 2025. And you have to have that belief to commit this early to a staff that's coaching for their jobs this fall.
Yeah.
He believes it with every fiber of his being that Oklahoma is going to field a winner in 2025.
He's
He's adamant
gonna
about it.
he's gonna be a fan favorite. Before the recruiting process is done, he'll be a fan favorite. I think it would probably behoove him to uh be a little bit more vocal publicly because I think his personality fits what OU fans would really, really like. Just from my limited amount of talking to the kid at camp, he has a good personality. Um, but yeah, that was a surprising commitment, and that goes along with my next question. The list for 2027 for that Michigan game is absurd already. Do you think if they win that ball game, or when they win that ball game, do you think there's a chance that momentum kicks off enough that there's a commitment or two from that game? Because I do.
I just got a feeling about Peyton Houston, man. It's not as much intel as it is a feeling. But as we know, Houston's closing in on a decision relatively soon here. And with the knowledge that he's going to be on campus September 6th for that football game and going to get the chance to watch Arbuckle's offense against a marquee defensive unit.
Right.
If things go according to plan that night, I can see a world where OU wraps that one up pretty quick.
So you're not you. I'll put you like this. So talking to people within the ether of Peyton Houston, the picks for Houston to USC has shocked everybody around them. That doesn't mean that they're not a player because I think they're a major player. Lincoln Riley is the reason that they're a major player. I just don't know that I believe that they're that much right. Does that make sense? Like, I still
Yeah.
feel like Oklahoma
Well,
leads.
yeah, and I mean it's very clear cut the battle at this point. It's OU
Yep.
USC Clemson because
Yep.
Texas A&M took Jace Johnson. LSU is going to wind up taking Colton Nussmeyer. Texas has zeroed in on Kavian Bryant.
Didn't
OU
Clemson get
USC
a
Clemson.
27 commit?
Oh, that's right. That's right. That completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, I thought they
That
got.
makes it even easier.
Yeah, it's USC Oklahoma for sure. But all these picks are coming in because of the relationship, obviously, with Booby Feaster. I think they're very close. I just I know that Ben Arbuckle and Oklahoma have been just super aggressive. If
What is
if they go out and prove, let's say they start 4 or 5-0, I think that's where things start to really move in the direction with Peyton Houston and Oklahoma. That's just my gut. Because he has said, I want to see some football played first
Yep.
before I make a decision. And what he means by that is I want to see how good these teams really are before I make a decision. And if these coaches are even going to be around, because guess what? Lincoln Riley isn't exactly on a cool throne either. It's getting a little warmer every year with him. If he goes and struggles this year, it could get pretty hot.
Caleb
So
the 918 tossed us a couple of super chats here. Any changes to game day atmosphere been announced? Energy is a real thing. If you expect fans to impact games, quit providing lame atmospheres. Do your part. We've been doing ours. A few
facts.
helpful hints free of charge. One, learn how to read a room. Two, change the third quarter song. Lose the MC. Enough of kicking for chicken. Three, seriously, learn how to read a room. It's not that hard. K Dub,
Dude, he went swinging there.
yes, he's got beef with the folks responsible for the in-game presentation slash environment. It's a soapbox that he'll get on somewhat regularly. Yes. Oh, I get that kicking for chicken is a sponsorship obligation, but they're always, they're using the MC to try and get people hyped for kicking for chicken. You can't get people hyped for kicking for chicken. Just do it and move on from it. Changing the third quarter song. Look, love and admire Toby Keith as much as the next guy. And it should be a Toby Keith song that gets ritualized at Owen Field, but I agree. Courtesy of the red, white, and blue did not really hit last year. Now, might have been circumstantial, but How Do You Like Me Now sure hit the one time they played it.
They were beating Alabama at the time, so that played into it. I think a lot of that has to do with how the game's going. Oklahoma didn't have a lot of good home games success last year. And so I think that played a big part of it. I do agree with How You Like Me. I do agree. It has to be from Toby Keith, Kings of Leon. Dude, I would love for a Kings of Leon song to be one of them. I even threw out like something that could mesh old school, like people that like this band that are old, people that are older like this band too. And they're new enough that everybody kind of knows them worldwide. And I think and it's a fast enough paced song that I think everybody would enjoy it. Like something from Mumford and Sons, like I Will Wait for You or something like that. Like because everybody knows the words to that song. They're not really that hard.
I don't think
I'm
it's really
just
a
trying to find.
sing along song.
It is. I put it on the board. Like there was everybody was singing at the concert. Everybody knew the words of the song. But How Do You Like Me Now, I think would work. It's just unfortunate that like, and I love Kings Leon. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. That one of their top songs is Sex on Fire. And you can't really play that. The other, Color Me Bad is the other Oklahoma band. And there's I Want to Sex You Up. So like, what is it with Oklahoma bands and sex? I don't know. But you just can't really sing along to that stuff. So they got to find something that can mesh old and new. And I really don't know what that would be outside of Toby Keith. But you got to win, OU.
Yeah.
That's how you get people hyped. Winning changes everything. But even Florida with Tom Petty, when they're losing, they still sing it. It's still awesome. I don't
It's
know.
one of
OU
those
fans are
songs
just
where the,
fickle.
the lyrics are applicable whether you're winning or losing, right? I won't back down. It makes sense whether you're winning or whether you're losing.
They got to find one that's like
Got
that.
to find something that strikes that balance at OU.
Yeah.
Maybe how do you like? I guess the solution there is just don't lose. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, Boganowski, appreciate you, brother. Need something with a beat drop. I'm down with like hip hop, but what hip hop song could they play that everybody would know? I would love MC Hammer Can't Touch This or Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. That would be awesome just
Oh my
because it would be
goodness.
so cheesy. Oh, it would be so cheesy,
It'd be
but it would be
hilariously cheesy.
it would be hilariously cheesy, but I think everybody would get after it. I think everybody would love it just because it would be fun. Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, every third quarter going into fourth.
Maybe once. Can't do it every week.
Oh,
Sorry.
dude,
Can't
I
do
would
it every
love it.
week.
It would be hilarious. Not a
Can't do
great
it every
song,
week.
but it's funny. Or Can't Touch This. Too
Oh,
legit to quit. Why can't they bring back the 91 Falcons? Too legit. Too legit to quit. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm trying.
all
I'm
right. Get
trying.
us out of here.
All right, guys. I appreciate you. That was one of the oddest endings to a podcast, but it was fun. We appreciate you all hanging with us. Um, Parker said it earlier. If you're not on ouinsider.com, it's awesome right now. It's really busy too. Appreciate you members that are on there, keeping that thing rolling. Community's fun. Lots of news and notes dropped every day. We've dropped practice notes, all kinds of stuff every day for you guys. Recruiting notes. Dropped a 5-star nugget on there just last night actually, or this morning, midnight ish. Um, really good news on a 5-star. If you want to go check it out, 2027, you can go over to ouinsider.com. You can sign up right now for $1 for the first week. Just go to ouinsider.com, click the right join, go over there. You also get the athletic complimentary for a whole year right now if you sign up all the way. That deal only lasts to August 30th. Or if you are a teacher, if you are a student in college, if you are active duty military teachers, we are doing teacher appreciation back to school right now, all the way Sunday to 11:59 on Sunday p.m. You can send us an email, ouinsider@rivals.com, from your teacher's email account. That way we know you're a teacher. We'll send you a promo code. It's one-time use. Boom, you get OU Insider $1 a month for the first 3 months, just $1 for the first 3 months. Same with college students. You send us an email, ouinsider@rivals.com. From your .edu, $1 a month for the first 3 months. Active duty from your active duty military to ouinsider@rivals.com. You get OU Insider VIP $1 a month for the first 3 months. We would love to have you guys again. Everybody else, it's so simple. $1 for the first week. It's just $11.99 a month. It's literally like 2 Starbucks trips. Not even that. 2 Starbucks trips are like $15 now. It's not even that. It's cheaper than that. It's a great deal. You get all members get all access to every On3 site. You get access to all of our national team recruiting. You get Parker and I talking to you every day. You get Jesse, Brody dropping basketball. He dropped an awesome basketball nugget just yesterday. You get all the VIP chat. It's fun. Go to ouinsider.com, sign up. We'd love to have you. That's the best way to support us. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast powered by Riverwind Casino. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe, my name is Brandon Drum. You guys have a blessed night.